Hey everyone, it's Rhygar here from Rhygar Gaming. Welcome to the next episode of Learning to Play City Skylines. So in this episode we're going to finish up our roading network and upgrade all our roads, but we're also going to be using some roads which aren't part of the default set of roads that come with the game because it's a little bit inflexible. So there are some assets. So assets are other buildings, roads, props, things like that other people have created that we can add to the game through the Steam Workshop as well. So we're going to put in some new roads that we can use to add a bit more flexibility to our roading network, and we're also going to use a mod that will allow us to reduce the amount of memory which is used up when we start to use lots of different assets and so on. So if you click on the link to my mod collection, which is in the description below this video, you'll need to click the show more button to see the actual link, and it will take you to my mod collection, which is shown on your screen here. If we scroll down the bottom, you'll see we have a link to a collection of roads. So I didn't create this, it was created by this person here, Silas. So big thanks to that person. It basically contains a set of roads which were based on an old set of roads called Network Extensions 2, but that's no longer being supported. So this person has created a copy of those particular roads as individual assets. So the easiest thing, you could click on the plus to add individual ones. Mine are already installed, that's why they've got the tick there, but you can click on the plus to install an individual one, just the ones you want. I just found it easy just to click subscribe all. That will subscribe all of the roads into your game, so install them all in, and then you can use the ones you want in game. And if you ever want to get rid of them afterwards, you can always click unsubscribe all, and that would remove all of them. Just be aware that if you did use some roads in a saved game and then you unsubscribe from everything, you're going to lose all of those roads when the game loads up. So just be aware of that. Cool, so subscribe to all of those, that adds it into the game. Now each of these roads has like textures and meshes and props that are used for it. So if you look at the picture here of the road, you can see there's a rubbish bin or a post box or something, there's trees here, there's lights, textures for the road and so on. So each road has these things, and if they use the same textures or meshes or props, then it loads that stuff in again. So you get multiple copies of the same textures, meshes, props and things when you have assets that use those. So that's going to eat up into the memory for your game. So luckily for us, there's a mod that will load the textures, meshes, props once, and then anything that uses them will just use that one copy of it. So we don't get multiple copies of the same thing being loaded into memory, and so it reduces the amount of memory that the game will use, because City Skylines is a pretty huge memory hog as it is. It uses a lot of memory, so whatever we can do to reduce it down is really good. So if we go back to the mod collection page, so add all those roads in, and then the one we want is called the loading screen mod. So you don't need to do anything to use it, it's all automatic. So find L, and then there's the loading screen mod. Click on the plus to load it. I've already ticked it, so it's already been loaded, and it will just use it automatically and reduce the amount of memory requirements for your assets. Alright, so let's start the game. And when we load the game, so you can start your game if you're doing it along with me, either click play and then load your game, or click resume to resume your last particular game. I want to load up a game. Remember, the mods are automatically enabled when you subscribe to them. Same with your assets, they'll automatically be enabled. But you can go into the content manager. If you go into assets, you can see all of these ones that we had before. So you can enable all of them, you can disable all of them, you can click on individual ones to turn them off and on. So that way they're still installed, but they won't be enabled in the game. So it doesn't actually load them. So that's kind of cool as well. So you can see all your different assets that you have that you add through the Steam Workshop in here. Alright, so let me load my game. I think I called it Renville 5. Click load. So you can see this is the loading screen mode. It's showing you the assets and things it's loading. This is the amount of memory it's using up. So at the moment I'm using up to 8.6 gigabytes of memory that are reserved for the game. So you can use quite a lot of memory. So we'll just start the game going. Alright, so what we want to do is upgrade our network. So from the previous video, I've added some more residential and commercial areas. So by the highway, I've added some commercial area here, because if we go to the sound overlay, you can see that the highway produces sound. So we want our residential to be not as close to it. So if we put some commercial here, it just adds a little bit of a buffer zone to our residential people. Same thing by the farming industry here. We don't want residential too close to it, so we could put some commercial here, and that kind of acts as a buffer. Oops, I don't think we need some pipes. So let's just extend that out. That gives them water. And from our previous video, we were running short of people working. So by adding the extra residential area, you can see that we've got more people. Our unemployment rate is now at 14%. So there's lots of people that are available to work, which is excellent. So that will also help us as well when we extend our farming area. Alright, so let's go through and upgrade our roading hierarchy. So remember, we had our 6-lane road, 3 lanes each way for our arterial road, and then we want our collector roads to connect to it, but not our local roads. So anything that connects to the arterial road should be a collector road only. And previously we had just a simple 2-lane road as our collector road because we didn't have any other options. I didn't want to use the built-in 4-lane road. So here's the built-in 4-lane road because it's quite fat, right? And so it takes up a lot of room, and so it would destroy some of those houses and things, which I don't want to do. Now that we've added the extra network extension duplicates or replacements, if we scroll through to the end, you'll see there's a small 4-lane road, and it will fit exactly where the original 2-lane road was, and it won't destroy anything. So we can upgrade all of these to the small 4-lane road. Okay, so let's make this a collector road. You can click and hold the button down, and it will just, as you drag, it'll upgrade it. Just have to be very careful you don't accidentally do some of these roads, so that's why I like to do it manually myself. So let's do a collector road all the way around the outside. Now you can see that some cars are disappearing, so these cars which are parked, the small 4-lane road doesn't allow for parking on it. So what they'll do is they'll just use the local roads to park later on. So it's up to you. If you want to go back to the standard one that allows parking, you can do that. I'm not really too worried about parking. So we'll keep going. And then, yep, down here there will be collector road. Let's take that all the way down. So this will just help improve the traffic flow, because we can then have lanes for turning and going straight. Okay, so that's a collector road through there. I guess this really should be a collector road because it connects up to the arterial road. So that's all the collector roads done there. So we want this to be collector roads coming down. Sweet. And in fact, that doesn't really need to be an arterial road here. But if I make that into a 4-lane road, it's going to reduce the width of that, so we don't really want that. So, I'll leave it there anyway, that's fine. This will need to be, we can make that a collector road. That's already a collector road. This can be local, that's fine. Although, no, it does come up against an arterial road, so again, that should be a collector road. Sweet, so that all the collector roads are on this side. So all we need to do now is upgrade all of these local roads to a normal 2-lane road. So you can do a 2-lane road, There's 2-lane road with trees, so you can add trees in. So trees add a decorative effect and also lowers noise pollution, and it increases land value as well. I think that might not have parking on it, and that's a 2-lane one-way road. So we don't want one-way; we want 2 ways. There's also roads with grass. If you want to have grass, kind of mix things up a little bit. That's entirely up to you how you want to do it. Let's try out the trees and see what happens. So yes, you can see it doesn't have the parking on it, but it does kind of look quite cool, which is quite nice. Let's have a look at the grass verge. So that one also doesn't have parking on it as well. So it's kind of what you feel if if there's no parking at all on your roads, whether you feel that's kind of realistic or not, that's up to you. So if you go back to the normal road, that will allow for parking on it. And what will happen is that now that the roads are getting paved, you'll hear that bing sound as all your houses start to upgrade. So you can see there was one that was upgraded there. There's probably some more that will get upgraded as we do this. Sometimes some houses will disappear or buildings will disappear because of the angles that you've got things. So again, don't worry too much about that. They'll kind of regrow. There was another bing as a building got upgraded. So not just your houses, but your commercial buildings as well. Yep, there's a lot of bings going on in the background as things are getting upgraded because of the better style roading, which is good. And of course it also increases the speed of the road. So dirt road was very slow, whereas the paved road is a bit faster as well. Sweet, there's some more down here. Right, so remember, local roads only intersect with collector roads, and collector roads only intersect with arterial roads and local roads. Sweet, so that's all that side done. And then if we go across to our industrial area, this one here doesn't really need to be a collector road, but this one here looks like it should be a collector road, right, all the way across. So let's change that. Again, we can use our small 4-lane road. This is because we're upgrading an existing road network. Obviously, when you're building out a new one, then you'll be able to decide which ones you want to use first before you put any buildings in, so it makes it easier. So do we want to keep going all the way across down to there? Cool, and I think our water is running out. Let's just double check that. Yep, so our pumping capacity is not as great as the water consumption. So if you remember back one of our previous tutorials, we added a water tower instead of a water pump station. So a water tower is only half the pumping capacity of a pumping station. So we need 2 towers, and that will give us the same pumping capacity as the water pump by the river. So you can see now our water pumping capacity and draining capacity is now roughly equal, whereas it wasn't before. And I think our electricity is still fine, so that's cool. Sweet, so that's looking good. Alright, so now you could upgrade these dirt roads to paved roads between your farms, but it depends on what aesthetic you want to go for. Oh, there's a fire. You can see all these fire engines have come across to put that fire out. So currently the building is damaged, but it will get rebuilt at a later stage. So don't worry about that. So that's why you need to have good fire coverage, because fire engines need to get access to where the fire is, otherwise it will spread. So at this stage, let's have a look at our fire range. So we could probably put one in this area down here somewhere, so that will cover all of this kind of area. So I guess what would be a good place? Maybe over here? Yeah, let's put one there. Sweet. So you could put a big fire station in, and it has a pretty big area of effect, but it costs a hell of a lot more. So that fire station is $60,000, whereas the little firehouse is only $12,000. So kind of depends on what you want to do. I still like the little ones spread out because they'll get quicker to where you need to be. If you've got one central one which has a lot of engines, then it takes them longer to get out to the edges of your city. So that's why I kind of like that. Alright, so that's that done. Okay, so we kind of need to expand our farming area a little bit, and then we're going to look at some different types of roads. Well, actually, let's do the roads now. So let's have a look at some other types of roads that we can use to help us. So if you look at this street here, there's not a huge amount of traffic, but we can use this as an example. At the moment, going up the road has a single lane, and going down the road heading towards our arterial road, which is Oliver Street, has one lane as well. The only problem is when we get to the intersection here, there's one lane for turning left and one lane for turning right. So this is a left-hand drive city because I'm in New Zealand, so I drive on the left-hand side. So apologies if you're in North America or something. So turning left is not such a problem, but turning right across here, there's a lot of traffic going past, right? So sometimes it might take a while for you to be able to turn right. That means all the traffic that needs to turn left has to wait for that right-hand turn to be completed. And so you could be waiting quite a while. What would be nice is if we could have two lanes for turning, so one for left, one for right, and have one lane for going up the street. So this is where the asymmetric road is really useful. So if we go into our roads section and go down to the small roads, you can see that we have a 3-lane asymmetrical road. So a symmetrical road is when you've got the same number of lanes on each side of the road. So this 6-lane road here is symmetrical road because there's 3 lanes going to the top and 3 lanes going down the bottom. So here's an asymmetrical road, so it's 1 plus 2. So 2 lanes going one way, 1 lane going the other way, and you can control which way it goes. So if we choose that asymmetrical road and upgrade this road here, you can see it's nicely the same width as our normal road. And you can see we've got 2 lanes going up and 1 lane coming towards the arterial road. So we want it the other way. So if you right click on it, that will flip it around the other way. And by doing that, we get nice 2 lanes for turning. So that way people that want to turn right can be in their lane, people that want to turn left can be in their lane, and they're not blocking each other, which is really cool. You don't have to carry up making the whole road asymmetrical. We can just do that part so that when they get to here, they can split off into the two lanes and then do what they want it to do. Alright, so that's how we can use asymmetrical lanes to help us to do various things as well. So that's kind of cool. Now, another thing we can do is if we go to the highway road, we now get, through our network extensions, we now get a 2-lane highway. Right? So remember we've got the default, which is the 3 lanes, and when you get to here, we get one of the lanes does 2 things. It can turn left and it can go straight. Now because of the default AI behavior, if you're going straight or turning left, it can actually use the same lane, and if you get a whole bunch of traffic piling up, people are waiting in the one lane. So we really want just a dedicated lane. Now you can do that with another mod that we'll look at in a later episode, but we can also do that by using what's called lane mathematics. So it wasn't invented by me. I take no credit for inventing lane mathematics, but I've seen lots of videos, especially a YouTuber named Biffa. So Biffa does some amazing city skylines videos, so I really highly recommend you check out his recordings. So Biffa. So just search up Biffa on YouTube. So he goes through a lot of lane mathematics. So basically the way that it's like how maths work. 3, if 1 turns off, we're subtracting a lane, so 3 minus 1 should mean that as we carry on, this should be 2 lanes. Now we didn't have a 2-lane highway in the default roads, but now that we've added these extra roads, we do have a 2-lane highway. So if we select that and upgrade this road here, notice what happens to our lanes. We now get a dedicated turning lane for turning left onto the ramp, and we have 2 lanes going forward and they'll go into their own lanes. And so we want to keep that going across. So that's 2 lanes all the way through here. And then when we get to here, we use lane mathematics again. 1 lane plus 2 lanes is 3 lanes, so this must be 3 lanes. Otherwise you're going to cause massive traffic jams, because if you only had 2 lanes, then cars going on this lane and cars coming on this lane are going to clash together, trying to get into that single lane there, right? So that's why we want to use 3 lanes there. So if I go set that back to 3 lanes, where is the 3 lane highway gone? That's 4 lanes. There we go. So set that back. So right, so lane mathematics, if you got 3 lanes and you minus 1, then you go down to 2 lanes. If you got 2 lanes and you add 1, then you go up to 3 lanes. So that's how lane mathematics works. And so that will work on the console if you have access to 2-lane highways as well. You can do that. Otherwise, if you have access to a 4-lane highway, you can go 4 lanes, 1 off, down to 3 lanes, 1 back on, back up to 4 lanes again after it. So that's another way of doing it. Alright, so let's upgrade, let's change our lane mathematics here. So that's 2 lanes all the way across down to there. So that gives us lane mathematics working our way through there as well. So you can apply that not just to highways but to your local roads and things as well. Again, remember we have this intersection here, so we want interchange, so we want to do that as well. So do some lane mathematics on that. Sweet, and that gives us dedicated turning lanes as well. Awesome, so that's how we use that. Okay, so we've done asymmetric roads, lane mathematics, so that's all cool. So let's learn how we can use the curved road tool to produce some kind of curving type roads. So you can see we've got this farming area here that takes in, there's lots of farming resources here. I kind of want to put a road that carries on from here, curves around, comes back up to here, and then curves back and comes into here. So let's choose our road tool. So we probably want to make the road that curves all the way around a collector road. So we'll go back to our, where is it? No, that was in this one here. It's a small 4-lane road. So first of all, we want to go straight up to about here. Yeah, about there, and then we'll kind of, let's go there, and we'll kind of curve it around. Okay, so we can use the freeform tool. So what you do is you click once again, that'll start to curve it. Click again, and it'll just start automatically curving from there as well. So that curves around to there, then that kind of curves around to there. And then maybe we want to go straight from there. No, that's kind of going up towards that way, isn't it? So we want to curve around a bit more still. So, yeah, that kind of looks straight. And then we'll bring that straight across. So we get to there. And what I want to do now is curve it from here to here. So you could just go like this and then curve it in like that, but that looks really weird, right? That doesn't look correct. It's not a smooth curve. So the way to do it is choose your curved road tool, not the freeform, curved road, and just go straight across until you hit the road guideline which matches up with that particular node down there. So you click on that and then you curve it in, you get a nice curve which looks really nice coming into that. So that's how you do the curved road. Cool, we should probably do a collector road going all the way up there. So not an should we make it? Let's make it an arterial road. So choose that, choose the straight tool, go all the way up. Sweet. And then all we need to do is put some local roads in here. In fact, no, I think I do want that to be a collector road because I want local roads coming off this. So let me change that. Sweet. So I'm going to use the dirt road for my farming section here. So I don't really want to connect any any local roads to this, because there's already an intersection here, and if you have too many intersections, it kind of slows it down. So we can actually do the road across here. So we can just go straight across here. Cool. And then what we can do is just bring in some roads and line it up like that. Maybe do this more in the middle just to make it kind of a little bit symmetrical. So that way we don't get too many intersections coming into that bottom collector road. And they can easily come down to this road and then go across into there. Sweet, maybe we should put some paths in just to allow for people to walk if they want to. So we'll use the dirt path because it's in the farming area, and we probably want to turn off our snapping guidelines. One there, do one there, do one here. So it just gives people a bit more freedom as to how they want to move around. If they want to walk, if they want to drive, that's fine as well. Eventually we'll put in some good transport options for people as well. But you know, they can get off a bus stop and they can quickly walk to their place of work. So what's our, I'll turn this road snapping back on. What's our unemployment rate? It's 18%, pretty high. So if we produce some more farming area here, then that will go down. You can see we've got a big demand for industry as well. So let's do that much for now, and we'll see how that goes. And then we can fill some more in as well. So our highway, we're going to curve around here, follow the coast a little bit, and we're going to connect up over here somewhere. And I've just been eyeing up the next tile over here, and what I'm thinking we'll do is we've got a bunch of trees here, so this would be a perfect place for forestry, and we can actually build a forestry area here. Now if you have a map and you don't have any trees nearby and you want to do a forestry area, well, it's easy. If you go to your tree tool, then you can just create a forestry area by just planting lots of trees, and then you can create your own forestry area. So that's perfectly fine as well. Do we need water? No, water is already there, so that's good. So let's speed it up a little bit. Cool, let's check out our traffic situation, check out traffic flow. So the roundabout, so red doesn't mean that it's, you know, jammed up or anything. It just means that it's busy, but the traffic is still flowing. But you can see sometimes the traffic stops because people just come onto the roundabout and they're not waiting for the people already on the roundabout. Now there is ways you can change that in the vanilla game. So if you go to the traffic routes area and go to junctions, we can set a stop sign, or we could put traffic lights. So you don't really want to put traffic lights on the roundabout, but you can put stop signs. So you can click stop sign there, click stop sign there. So now they'll stop before they get onto the roundabout, and they will wait for people around the roundabout, but sometimes it doesn't always work perfectly. Okay. You can see that sometimes the game will add in traffic lights for you. So if you don't want them, because it's not really that busy, you can just click on them, turn them off, and that way you're not slowing any traffic down. They're not stopping needlessly. So just double check any areas which don't have a high amount of traffic. You can just turn the traffic lights off. Don't really need them. And then later on, in one of the later episodes, we're going to use a mod to get rid of traffic lights completely. Traffic lights do have their uses in certain situations, so I'm not saying don't use traffic lights at all, but if it's pretty free flowing, then you don't really need to use them. So again, see there's lots of traffic lights here. Let's just turn them all off. Now it will lead to a bit of congestion around there, but I want to do that so that I want to show you what happens when we go on to learn about the Traffic Manager mod that will allow us to do various things. Turn those off. There's one there. Alright, I think I've got all the traffic lights. Sweet as. Alright. Get out of that view. So you can see we've got a whole bunch of workers required. It just takes a bit of time for your workers to find those particular jobs. What we can do to help them is extend out our bus lines. Okay, so if we go to our bus lines, go to the bus stop tool. Alright, so we need our green line to come in and service this area as well. So what we can do is drag that stop and put it, say, there. And then we could add a bus stop there. Oops. Click on the actual line, so that adds a bus stop there. So the people in the middle, they will walk to the outsides and they will go to that. Sweet. And we want to extend the bus stops, or extend our red line as well. So let's do that. So we'll click on this line and drag it out. Let's put one there and then put one here. Oh, doesn't quite line up with that one there, but that's fine. Sweet. So we've done that. Now what a lot of players do is they create a clockwise and an anti-clockwise bus line. So you can see that this bus line here is kind of flowing clockwise. And so a lot of people put a line which mimics that, but it goes in the opposite direction. So it just follows the same bus stops going in the opposite direction to create an anti-clockwise line. So the reason why they do that is, say that there's a person here at this bus stop and they want to get off. Oh, sorry, I need to extend this line out before I do that. So let's extend this line out. So let's drag that bus stop and put it there. And let's add another bus stop. Let's add another bus stop there. Okay, so if a person is at this bus stop here and the traffic flows this way, then if they want to get to this bus stop, they have to get on this bus and they have to go all the way around here to get to here. Whereas if you had an anti-clockwise line that mimics the green one, then if I got on here, I could just go around here and get to here, and it would be much quicker. So that's kind of up to you. I don't really worry about it because later on we're going to use other transport methods to help people move around. But if you want to do that, then that's perfectly fine as well. In fact, let's check our bus lines. So we've got a lines overview. You can see we've gone up to 386 residents per week, so we get more people. We get more people using public transport. So let's click on this. So there's not a huge number of people waiting at the bus stops, which is good. And the actual buses are pretty well used. So I think 14 vehicles on this line is actually doing pretty good. So we don't need to worry about that one. Let's go to the next one. Again, in this one, so there is 49 people on this one, and there's 103 on this one, but they're going to be picked up by all of these buses. So let's just see, let's speed it up. And let's see how long it takes us to get that figure down. So it's going down, it's going down. So remember we extended this the red line out a little bit as well. Where is that stop anyway? Oh, it's over here. In our farming section. So you can see that a lot of people are going to work there. So there's 19 people now. Hopefully these people should be mopped up in a minute as the buses come in. Yep, no, I think that number of people is perfectly fine. So that's cool. So we can see our bus transport system is working pretty well as well. So in some of those roads we added, you can actually add proper bus lanes into your roading network so that buses use the same particular road as well. Alright, so that's working. Now if you look at this intersection here, you can see that people aren't giving way or yielding to other traffic or anything. They're just barging straight into that intersection and going through willy-nilly, so it can cause problems. And we can't control the lane arrows here, so you can see that these lanes are doing multiple things which will cause problems. Same over here as well. So we're going to fix up all of these extra traffic issues using a mod called Traffic Manager President Edition, and we're going to learn about that in the next video. Okay, so that's all for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Please subscribe if you like my content. It will just help other people to find it through the YouTube algorithm as well. And hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Alright, that's it from Rhygar. Catch you next time.